What am I doing? What am I doing? Hitting the spotlight, my world go crazy. Your time, you just wanna make me in light. I don't wanna ever see it. Spotlight, tryna make my ends meet. Hey, not that famous yet, but when I'm big, hey, people just want to end me. Every day people say you just aren't the same. Spotlight tryna make ends meet. Why I'm so crazy, making my life go empty. Your time, you would just be faded. My life, I'd be crazy. My time, I'd be amazed. I need you more back in my mind, girl. You always my world. I don't wanna fight it. Through the spotlight, my world go crazy. Your time, they just be fading. In life, I can't be fixed it. My time, I'll just be amazing. Your life, you'd just be dying. I'll be always there crying. Why can't I fix it? Spotlight, my world be crazy. Your life is so amazing. My time, I just be faking. My why, I can't be there. Hey, my time, I be updating. Your time, we so amazing. My life, yeah, my life, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hey, I guess I'm back. Yeah, I guess I'm back. Hey, I guess I'm back. Hey, yeah, I guess I'm back. I bless the beat. I got my heat beside the seat. You niggas sweet, my niggas street. Bitch, I'm back. We toting straps. We dealing caps. I'm living fast. The world is mine. See the signs, so I shine. I two-step when I flex. Who's what? I'm up next. Sent the text, no respect. Who won't war? We got vests. Sending threats, be a death. Yeah, we getting bread, hella cheese. Hit your knees, turn me up. I'm big dog. You a little pup. Hit the club and fuck it up. Riding down the strip, wide body black tint. Yeah, wide body black tint. Yeah, riding down the strip, wide body black tint. Yeah, wide body black tint. Yeah, wide body black tint. Yeah, we sliding. Come on, pussy boy. Don't you start that high. We not within it now.
All right, clang, 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 clang. We are out here, as some people might say. I definitely say that from time to time, and I 100% get made fun of about 95% of the time. I just don't think I have one of those faces that seems cool. So that's just me in a nutshell. When did we ask? I'm going to be probably very minimally looking at chat for this whole thing because I've never really done a presentation, so to speak, like this, right? I mean, I've taught classes, many, many classes, but to actually put a slideshow together and go through with every slide without jumping ahead by accident, it's going to take some getting used to because my brain goes many different ways. For the people that are going to be looking at the VOD, because I'm not saying there are millions of people watching right now, but guaranteed at least a couple hundred thousands, probably millions will get to the VOD. I am Jerami Monreal, and I improvise. I've been a teacher for improvisation for probably around, I mean, almost 10 years. Time is pretty crazy now because it doesn't seem real. It seems pretty much yesterday that I started trying to teach the youth of America. But I have taught many different levels. I've taught everywhere from elementary through college, all the way up to college that I went to, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool feat to do when you leave your college and you want to teach probably immediately or do something there, but they're like, give it some time, get some experience, and then you finally do, and you get up there, and it's awesome. It really is awesome. I went to school at AMDA. I don't really feel like I want to do the whole word acronym right now, but if you want to know what it means, you can look it up. They might have changed their name a little bit. I know they did a couple of times, but AMDA, it's an acting college out here in LA and over in New York. And from AMDA, I went to places like at the LA Connection, which is kind of like an improv gym, I would say. It's more so short form based, and you kind of just get your reps in multiple times to make sure that you are staying in shape mentally and nimble. And then I went to Groundlings, which is a lot of fun. And it should be noted that a lot of the stuff that I'm probably going to talk about in the coming weeks or anything like that is going to largely be based around the Upright Citizens Brigade, the Improvisational Manual, because I have read it twice, and it's a really, really great read, especially for improv if you're trying to understand it a little bit more. Do I think I'm the best at what I do? 100%. No, I don't. But I do think that I have an ability to be able to relay information to people when I'm not uselessly babbling. These chats and or classes are probably going to be, I would say roughly, hopefully, around like 30 minutes. I'll try and keep them short, but even now, this intro is supposed to be about 1 minute. So I'm here to teach you a little bit about improv, and we're going to go based on this slideshow that I have coming up right here, because I really do not know what's first. I think it's just going to be what I just did, which is, introducing myself. So why don't we go ahead and try it out? Okay, improv basics. Yeah, I broke it down a little bit, what you're going to be hearing from me. Lessons from the absolute best fucking teacher around. And that is a very reliable quote from like someone's opinion, man. Someone out there thinks that of me, whether it's myself only, I don't give a shit. And that's my name. Aren't I cute? I put together a little slideshow and it slid from left to center. I'm just cute. I'm just really, really cute. So here's some key points. Here's some key points that I'll probably be focusing on, things that I find beneficial that I want you to leave with, right? The biggest thing for me is confidence, and that really, yeah, that says right. That really developed for me. It wasn't always there, I'll be honest. Not in terms of my confidence, but in terms of my goal for people in class that I teach. Because every age that I've taught, from elementary through college, pretty much the same thing, right? We all have our setbacks, because it's mainly our brain getting in the way and judging ourselves and not trusting everything that we do is valid or anything like that. And 90% of the time in classes that I teach in person, I am a fucking whack job. I make sure that I'm like screaming, doing voices, doing like a bunch of shit. And that is to make sure that it's okay to be weird. It's okay to not be controlled like we always are in everyday society. We're at work, we're at school, we're anywhere, and people don't want us to be crazy. And we shouldn't be crazy, obviously, for good reason. But I want you to feel confident enough to be able to do that and to know that you're not going to be judged for it. Yeah? Trust, right? So that first one kind of bled into this next one. And even in the first sentence for confidence, I said I want you to trust yourself. But now when I say trust as another focal point, it's a little bit broader. It's a little bit more not only yourself, but I want you to trust in your partners or where the scene is going or just anything in life, right? Just trust that it's all a process. You're going to get it. It's just a matter of reps, and you're on the right fucking track. That's the biggest fucking thing, is trust. No, confidence is, but trust is like hand in hand. Being present, and these all kind of go hand in hand, like I'm going to say from here on out. But the only way you're going to be present is if you have that confidence and that trust, mixed with a little bit of patience, which is a part of trust. So being present, it takes a while because we're always thinking ahead, judging what we just said or trying to figure out what to say in the coming moments, right? So the biggest thing for improv, and hopefully leading forward in your life for this in particular thing, is being present. And hopefully that goes into your regular day life too. I think I have another one. Again, I act like I didn't put together this slideshow, but I did, and I enjoyed it. Okay, not fully, but we'll see what this next one is. Listening, which I highly doubt you're doing right now. But it's okay, because that's what VODs are for. And I'm going to say the word VOD a lot more because guess what? Didn't know exactly what that acronym meant for a large portion of my life. And it's a little bit embarrassing to admit that to you, but since you're here and or watching the VOD, I know what it means now. Victory or death. No, I really do know what it means. Videos on demand. Okay, that was me being confident and then just second guessing it. I would need to take my own lessons right there. So yeah, listening. And that, you're going to need that to be present. You're going to need that 100% of the way. Okay, so what is this slide? It's just a red border. What is improvisation? Oh my gosh. Okay, I remember putting this slide together. So it's creating or performing unscripted scenes or stories. In the most succinct sentence that I could try and make. I also continue to go with it a little bit. Everything you see in improv is completely made up on the spot. The performer plays many roles. They are a performer as well as a writer, director, editor, and showrunner. And basically what that means is you ain't got no one up there but you and your partner, right? You're going to be in charge of dictating the pace of your scenes that are seen. Of your scenes that are seen by an audience, and also of the games that you choose. You're going to be in charge of that pace and energy, right? You're obviously the writer because you're going to be coming up with absolutely every word that comes out of your mouth on the spot. And yeah, you're the performer for obvious reasons. This is the art of professional bullshitting, if you may. And I think I put that in my title by a certified bullshitter. I'm a certified bullshitter by now, so I can confidently say that. So what is right here? How'd they do all that? Well, they do all that by using audience suggestions and having scene building exercises with their partners on stage, and some rules that are in place for improv and practices that are implemented throughout the process of getting more and more comfortable with improv. Man, if I keep talking like this, I'm gonna get done in like 5 minutes, man. But it all seems very daunting. I'll try and savor on these slides a little bit more. So it all seems very daunting because we have absolutely no idea what is going to be said, right? And for a lot of people, that's really, really scary because you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward at all times. And in improv, your best foot is always forward as long as you are building with your team, your partner and or team, and you're in the moment, right? So I know that you're probably going to view it as a very terrifying thing to not have anything to say. But I challenge you to, maybe, I don't know, view it the opposite way. As trying to be free, because really you're going to do great the answer is all within yourself. And trying to let it free you up a little bit, knowing that anything's a possibility, right? And in the coming weeks, whenever I come on here for lessons, we're going to talk more about specificity and justification, exploration, heightening, all that stuff that's going to make you feel more confident in the actual art of improvisation. And yeah, and I want to stress again in the VOD, remember, a lot of the stuff that I probably will talk about is going to be coming from UCB's Improv Manual. And at some point, maybe I could put a link in the chat or something like that if you feel inclined to get that. It is a little bit thicker for a book on improvisation, but they really do word it very well, and they have a lot of visual examples and everything like that. And it's just really fun because it's built by improvisers, the founders of UCB, and they're really, really funny. They're all brilliant minds, and it's pretty fresh. So we'll go to the next page. Rule number 1. And I mean, okay, this is pretty much rule number 1 through all, right? And that is yes and. And the reason I gave it such fast text, because at this point in my teaching career, it almost seems implied, and it's just like I have to keep on instilling it in people. Yes and, yes and, yes and. So it falls a little short on the excitement scale for me. That's why it's so fast. Like, that yes and has some really cool sunglasses on right now, and you can't catch it. You cannot catch it. So what is up this one? Oh, what that is. This is when you start to see my inner dork. I would say, I wouldn't say nerd, but my inner dork. The fact that I feel necessary to have these little animated text bubbles and stuff like that. So I apologize for any cheesiness, but I have to get it out somehow. In class, in-person class, I get to get it out by doing characters and being weird and talking to people. Through this, you're going to have to suffer these cheesy clip arts and shapes for that. So what is yes and, essentially? Yeah? So it's agreeing to said circumstance or base reality set and adding new information. Yeah? I don't know if I put it in the next slide, but I can talk about it a little bit more. But again, it's something that I have to fucking nail down and keep saying, right? So I wanted to pump it up a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Spinning. Okay, that's what I'm fucking talking about. And I apologize. I probably should not be cursing like this. If you are with a young one, I do not condone the language that I'm doing right now. It's just how I feel comfortable. It's a coping mechanism. And it doesn't make me smart. Be better than me. Don't use explicit language. Okay, I got that out of the way. So, the base reality or circumstances. So basically, to start a scene, we have to have an initiation line. One of the improvisers, imagine there's 2 improvisers on stage. One of the improvisers has to initiate the scene somehow, has to give some sort of inclination of what idea they might have. They don't have to go up, and we can mention any of the things, right? We have all the W's, the who, what, when, where, why, right? Why is a very mystical one. It's kind of in the clouds. It's not always focused on. But I'll tell you about that in a second. I didn't put this on the slide, so I'm going to talk about it. So obviously, the who is not only who you are, right? The biggest thing for me on the who is who we are to each other, the relationship. That's the biggest thing. I don't care who you are unless you're trying to play a public figure or someone really well known, a celebrity or something like that, and it's kind of pivotal for the scene. But it's not always the strongest choice. The strongest choice is always investing in the other person. So to have some sort of labeling of who you are to one another, a relationship. If you pardon me real quick, I'm going to drink this ridiculously sized water. because I feel a little bit of one of those bad boys. I'm sorry, very unprofessional, but stay hydrated. So what was I saying? Who? Right? I already said that. The relationship. That's the biggest thing. Who you are, who they are, who you are to one another. And that helps influence the scene very, very much, like so much. And the next thing, what? That is what you are doing or what the scene is about, right? It could be an action or it could be the through line, essentially. Yeah, what you two are doing or what you were doing there. I want you to think about all those things for the what, right? What you're doing. If you're doing an action, that's where the mystical why comes into play, right? Why are you doing that action? Like if you decide to use space work, and we can talk about that later, and you act like you're playing pool, why are you doing that, right? So once you make that initiation or that label of something, I want you to start thinking of the why every time. So who we are to one another, the relationship, what we're doing or what the scene's about, and where, who, what, where, why. What did I say how? I didn't mean to say how, or did I say when? I don't think I meant to say when. We can talk about that. So who, what, where. Where is very simple, the location, where we are at, right? All of these different things in a scene are going to help influence how you play out a scene or how you act in a scene, how you move through the space. The importance, the significance, which is the same thing as importance. The stakes, it raises the stakes. And we don't think that on a base level, but if I were to start a scene and I say, hey mom, versus, hey bro, right? I know that's very simple, and obviously I didn't think about it ahead of time. But off that line, you can already think about how you're going to act to the other person, how you're going to act with the other person, right? Hopefully there's a certain level of respect for mother, father, or parent to any degree, guardian, than there is for your bro, bro. Hopefully, but maybe you flip it, who knows. The what you're doing can really change a lot of stuff, right? If you are playing pool, it can be for any reason. It could be for sport, fun, money. If you're digging a hole, it could be for any reason, right? Yard work, labor, or desperation because you're digging a grave for someone. And where can really indicate how you walk through the space. So, and what I mean by that is how you walk through the space and how you react in that space, right? Because if you're having an intimate conversation, it's much more difficult to have that conversation in a public place such as Best Buy or Target or Walmart than it is to in your living room, right? So all these things are going to indicate that. Who, what, where, and then the why. When, I don't really care about. When can help influence how you play if you have a stylized thing. Kind of like a time period. If you wanted a time period piece, that'll help that. But it doesn't matter. Whatever. So, you have to agree to whatever's set, right? So if someone comes out and they say, oh, it's so cold. They're establishing, obviously, that, well, they're cold. It's not a strong initiation line. It's just showing how you are physically in your space, but it doesn't really indicate much else. It doesn't tell you where you are. You could be inside in a freezer. You could be outside in winter. You could be in the pool that's unheated because people are fucking monsters. Again, I'm not condoning this sort of speech. But if you do not have a heated pool at your establishment, you just want people to suffer. I'm glad I took time out of my day to spread awareness on that. So you haven't indicated a lot, right? But what we do know is that it is cold. Okay, so you have to agree to the reality of it being cold. you can come out and be cold in a different way. You can come out and acknowledge that it's cold, but you're tough, whatever. But maybe someone goes, "Ooh, it's so cold," and then you might come out and say, "Yeah, seriously. I mean, who plans their vacation trip to Russia?" Okay, cheesy, maybe, but you see what I did. I agreed that it was cold, and I added more information as to where the location is, because that person came out, and thank heavens they did, and they initiated something, but they didn't really give any indication to what is around them, what they're doing, who they are to one another. Now with that second line, we know they're in Russia, and we also know that they're on vacation. So that could indicate many different things. It could indicate maybe a relationship, so to speak. It's a little bit more personal than just strangers. And I always want your people to know one another somehow. But so that, and the third line from the second person would be like, they could indicate anything else to add on, a relationship, anything like that. I don't know. Mom said that we get one vacation, and I never thought I'd go to Russia. That's okay. Obviously not thinking ahead, right? But I indicated that these are siblings. So now we know they're in Russia on vacation. Oh, they're in Russia on vacation. Vacation could be the what, right? We don't know what action they're doing, but the what of the scene is they're on vacation. They could be having a terrible time. And they are siblings, be it brothers, sisters, brother, sister, anything like that. So I think I savored enough on this slide, and I probably went ahead, and I'm really not trying to, so I apologize. And again, if you're still in here and you are insanely offended by the sailor talk that I am having right now, I apologize. I will be better. I will be better. All right, ways to say yes. Okay, I think that I have gone into this a little bit. This is obviously the first lesson I'm going to give on improv, right? I'm introducing you to what it is and the basic rule and thread through improv. After this, I thought maybe I should talk about ways to warm up and stuff like that, things to focus on. Maybe that would have been a great way to do this, but I always love introducing this, who I am, what improv is, and probably the most important thing that you'll ever hear no matter what school you go to for improv, right? So ways to say yes. Verbally. That's the easiest one, right? You just say, yeah, I agree to that. I mean, you don't have to say the sentence, I agree to that. But if someone comes out and says, hey, bro, can you pick up the trash on the floor? And then I say yes by maybe saying like, Dad told me that you're the one that's in trouble. So I agreed that we're brothers, right? I said yes. I didn't go, bro, you're not my brother. You don't know how many people will do that in a scene. What are you talking about? You don't even live here. And they completely ruin the reality of everything that is trying to be built. Physical embodiment. And that's kind of what I alluded to in this past one, which was if someone's cold, right? Like, ooh, they're shivering. You could literally just go, like if someone goes onto the stage, one person, and they start shivering, right? You might go on stage and just bundle up, right? So you're physically agreeing to the circumstance of the weather around or whatever they're feeling, right? You're not negating it like, ooh, and then coming out like, woo, boy, oh boy. Sure, initially it's funny, but that's not what we're doing for improv, right? We're trying to be basic, start very minimal, agree, build, yeah? Movement through the space. Okay, so that is kind of like maybe the same as physical embodiment, but I wanted to stress more how you move through space, right? So if someone is coming on, creeping on stage, we know that they're trying to indicate they're somewhere that they shouldn't be, or they're just trying to be sneaky. Yeah? So you can come on and be sneaky as well, or you can come on maybe add little things in space movement, like they're creeping around and maybe you decide to go in, like start cutting a circle out of a glass to try and take something out, right? So you're using space work to agree to your physical embodiment, what the scenario is, and you're adding to it. Yeah, so how you move through the space. And moving through space can help a lot. How you move is a silent way to indicate what you guys may be doing. So if you're ever afraid to initiate something through verbally, and a lot of people are, it's a lot of people are great at the and part of this, or the yes and, they're really, really great at it, but they're not good at that initiation, because even me, I lack a lot of confidence initiating stuff because I overthink it. So if you ever feel like you're stuck and you cannot say anything to initiate a scene, walk through the space a little bit differently. Because however you walk is going to get the gears turning in your partner and be like, oh shit, they're this place, they might be this place, they might be this place, they might be this place. So little things that you can do without actually talking to start something and to try and build something with your partner. This one I put in there because it's a mind fuck. At least it was for me. And I did learn this from, or I saw the verbiage of it from UCB Improv Manual. I'm going to continue to say that so people don't try and jock on my VODs and be like, hey, you're just reading the Improv Manual. I have read it twice. I bought it twice. Each time I read it, or one of my classes, I would give it to a student. So a student would be interested in learning a little bit more, and I would just give them the book. So it's kind of like, for lack of a better, like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or something like that. I'm trying to create a community of the traveling chapters. I don't know if that's good or not. I have no clue. I'm on a fever high. So this one, it's characters can disagree or say no to one another, but the improvisers should always be in agreement. And this is really hard to understand, or at least to relay, and maybe it's just me. So imagine there are two improvisers on stage. So there's two on stage that we see, that the audience sees, and those are going to be the characters that they're portraying. And imagine, if you may, that they are beside themselves, right? Watching themselves as improvisers, as people that know what they're trying to do, right? So there's really four people, two people on stage and two off stage that are the actual improvisers and not the characters. The characters can be in disagreement, right? They can say no to one another. They always have to agree to the base reality, but they can still say no. Because I don't want people to get confused and think that they can't say no. They can say no to the character, but the improvisers have to agree on what the reality is. And that's why they can never say yes. Or never, sorry, that's why they can never not say yes. Sorry, a flub up. So they always have to be in agreement, but their characters don't have to be, right? They understand the reality that's going on, but the characters are living the reality and living their own truths. I don't know if I said that very well, especially that time where I said the exact opposite of what I wanted to say. I think I crushed it, my guy. I think I crushed it. All right, so let's see this next slide. Reasons and ways we say no. Dude, my slides are like primo, my guy. My guy. So there's a lot of no's that go on stage that aren't the characters. They are the improvisers, and people do this all the time and they don't realize they're doing it. And the less you practice, the less you put in the work, you're going to do these no's. So we'll say, I think we're going to start with reasons why people say no. Why the hell do these people say no after years and years of training to say yes? First one, they're self-conscious. And I think that's a really, really big one, because at least it resonates with me a lot. because so many times, let me see, let me get out of studio mode so I can see what you guys are saying. Because so many times I've been worried about how I'm being perceived or what I'm saying or anything like that, that I say no because I'm too in my head. I'm not actually paying attention to my scene partner. And I've done this in class, dude. Like, I've done this with simple games. I've been so self-conscious. There's a game that we can talk about at some point, the dating game. And so basically, it's a guessing game. And there's the bachelor or bachelorette, right? They go out of the room, and then there's going to be three improvisers that have quirks, little quirks here and there, or like fun thing. Like, you might have seen this on Whose Line Is It Anyway, right? Where they have specific quirks they don't say to the person, but the person, after all three of the improvisers have been given their quirks, now they're going to start performing them, right? And the bachelor or bachelorette's job is to come in and ask questions like the dating game. Like, okay, things really get hot and heavy where I'm from. What would you say to me over a candlelit dinner on a summer's day? Whatever. They can pose any which question to each one, right? Bachelor number one, bachelor number two. And they answer using their quirks to try and influence or to try and hint at what they are. So they might get something like someone slowly turning to stone throughout the entire time. Someone is constantly thinking about spaghetti, or gets slightly aroused every time someone makes eye contact. But mine that I was given was, this is what I heard. You have one of, and I'm going to fuck this up, 5 senses. Are there 5 senses? Are there 6 senses? You let me know. You let me know after this, and then we'll see how dumb I am. So I heard you have one of the senses. They come in. I start to choose, okay, or you don't have one of the senses. That's what so I choose to be blind. Like, I don't have my sight. They started asking me questions, and I try to implement, okay, I paint stuff that is really heightened because of the lack of sight. I think that's what I wanted to do. So, like, I paint without looking or something like that, and I do all these things. Halfway through the game, I freak out because I'm like, I'm not doing what I need to do. I'm not doing what I need to do. Fuck it. And I'm sorry for the language. I'm going to switch to I don't have smell. And if you switch your objective or what you're trying to convey in the middle of it, it's never good. And then after they're guessing everyone gets guessed maybe about in the first try, even second try. Mine completely gone. No, I don't know, because it turns out like he's a guy in prison who wears Hawaiian shirts and paints, and it was the worst. I felt so terrible, and it's because I was so self-conscious. But I was also self-conscious because I didn't actually take the time to hear what my teacher said, my instructor said. And he told me that you have none of the 5 senses. Not one. You have absolutely 0 of them. So when he asked me, hey, so what were you trying to do? And I said, well, I messed up because, you said I have 1, and I chose to be this, and then halfway through I started freaking out and I chose this. He's like, oh yeah, I said none. And it was even more of a blow to me because I was like, shit, man, I was so in my head that I didn't even take time to think and listen to what he said or confirm what he said. And I didn't even do what I thought I heard. I did not correctly do it. So a lot of people will say no because they're self-conscious. They think, what they're doing isn't interesting enough, so they want to go ahead and add to it, right? So that's something that might happen. They might change what they're doing, right? In the middle of the scene, because they go, you know what? It's not working. No one's laughing. I feel like shit, and I'm sorry for the language. I feel terrible. No one's laughing. My partner doesn't know what we're doing. I'm going to switch it up. And that is a complete no, because we second guessed it and we decided to take it into our own hands and be like, okay, this is more interesting, right? Next one. Next one. Conflict hungry. I don't really know I do know what it is. So all this entertainment, TVs, movies, all the stuff that we watch is very conflict heavy, right? We are very drawn to conflict. And we think that everyone else is drawn to conflict. So every scene that you see has to have some sort of issue, has to have some sort of underlying problem. But that's really not the case, especially with improv. Like, the biggest thing, there can be conflict. Yes, there doesn't always have to be conflict. And people will say no because they think, ooh, it's edgy, it's fun, people are going to like to see it. Oh, they love seeing people argue. And this is the biggest thing that I took away from one of my classes, and I continue to say it to other people. And I love paying homage to, like, any teachers that came before me, that taught me all that shit. So things with arguments, right? This is kind of the the ladder of arguments. You did this. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. So you see that it just kind of back and forth, doesn't go anywhere. My teacher once told me, or told the class, I can't remember directly, but he said, someone has to lose. And none of us want to lose. If you've ever been in an argument, you, man, I don't want to lose. And that's pretty much mine and I think the rest of the world's mentality. But here's the thing that happens when you lose, right? So you did this. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Yes, I did. Why'd you do it? This is why. How could you? Anything like that. It continues to progress. And then we find out motives. We find out bigger things outside of just that argument. We find out how these characters have been living their entire lives and the issues, the inner workings of their relationship, all because one person chose to lose. But that is a very common thing why people say no, because they think, hey, do you want to do this? No. Why would you make me do that? You're such a loser. Cool. You've denied the scene and shat on your partner all in one. But it'll fall short in about 2 seconds. Very lackluster. We're funny. Come on, man. We're fun. This is funny stuff, man. Shout out to Kyle Mooney on his channel, YouTube Kyle. Come on, this is funny stuff. Again, not me, that's Kyle. A lot of people will do this, right? Because they think they know what's best. It's very selfish. It's almost like someone, just like stroking themselves, their own ego on stage because they think that they're funny. Improv is comedy, so I know comedy. This is what's funny. What you just said isn't funny. What I'm about to bring to the table, listen up. And most of the time, it's just not true. And many funny people can be funny outside of improv and then get in improv and not know what the hell to do because they are so independently driven. I won't say selfish, but in the context of improv, that would be selfish. But they're so independently driven, they don't know how to build with other people. And they don't realize that building is all that improv is, right? I have laughed embarrassingly hard at many, many scenes in improv with no joke whatsoever. It's just pure reaction and honest reactions to scenarios. It's something that no matter what they say, they can say, I don't know, or yeah, totally. It doesn't matter what it is. The nuance of it and just the reality that they don't have these lines locked and loaded, right? They're coming up with it in the moment. So everything that you say is going to be brilliant. And that's what people need to realize. This isn't like a joke-driven community. There will be jokes throughout it. They're not going to be the best constructed because they don't have time to write it down and do all that stuff. But there's going to be jokes. But mainly the jokes are about the reactions, the relationships, the scenarios, and stuff like that, and what comes of them, and how we react to those. So yeah, the we're funny people, the worst. And I will say, I'm sure I've been part of that for X amount of classes, but very quickly got over it. So these are types of denials. Again, this is from Improv UCB Manual. And I gave my book to one of my students, so it probably isn't verbatim, but it's the essential stuff from there. Pulling the rug. That is a complete denial of the circumstance that has been established, right, by the initiation line. And this is an example from a very, again, not word for word, example from UCB, where maybe a person comes in and he goes, well, I got your results back. It looks like I'm going to have to prescribe you this medicine. Right? So that they're initiating, I'm your doctor. We got the results back. They're not good. I'm going to have to prescribe you a couple whatever. That's their initiation line. Strong, plain. We don't know what's going to happen throughout there. But we know it. The other person chooses to react by going, what? What are you talking about? You're not my doctor. Get out of my house. And again, so many people do this, and this is why they wrote it in that book. I don't know why. I don't know what you get out of it other than a quick, right? A quick line, a quick laugh, maybe. But you completely derail the scene, and you have to build something out of nothing. And you're going to make your partner or yourself crazy, certifiably insane. And we do not play insane or on drugs in scenes. And it's not because it's insensitive, although the latter might be a little bit insensitive. It's because they don't make your decisions your own. They make your decisions based on an outside source. And I'll say that again. So we don't play crazy, and we don't act like we're high or anything like that on drugs, because they don't make your decisions your own. They make your decisions based from an outside source. So everything you do is justified because you're crazy, which can only go so far. Like, how do you work with a crazy person on stage? You know what I mean? Where do we go after you take off all your clothes and wanna shit in my living room? Sorry for the language, but where do we go? You know, who knows? And again, I will say this: improv is all make-believe stuff, all make-up stuff. So when I say undress clothes, right, they're imaginary. We use space work to take off shirts, unbutton stuff, and we don't have any objects. We create objects with space work. So they're not actually getting naked, but I'm trying to do it for the scene, right? So we don't have anywhere to go from there, and everything that you do is not going to make sense, and it's going to derail everything because you did that because you're crazy. So that's pulling the rug. They completely deny the scenario and make you look crazy. Dueling initiation. I didn't even talk about what initiations were, but it's the start of the scene, the first line of the scene, how you initiate the scene. So dueling initiation just indicates that you both have an idea, and both of you want your idea out there. One of you says your idea first, and the other person's like, yeah, but we're doing this, right? And they're trying to push their own agenda. They're trying to push it back to that, and you guys are both talking about separate things. Like maybe someone comes in with a very not strong initiation line, but like, all right, so I'm going to get a couple of turnips for the salad. Oh man, the produce salad is really cold today. And the other person's like, yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm getting pumped up for the race right now. We're at the tracks. Completely different terrible example. Maybe I'll start writing down examples before, but that'll ruin my charm of being in the moment. So they have dueling initiations, and none of them are willing to ditch it, right? That person's going to keep shopping in the produce aisle, getting arugula, getting some oranges, some, getting some onions, whatever, cucumbers. And the other person's going to keep on doing drills at the track, looking at the crowd. Yeah, what's up? And it doesn't make any sense because they're both doing something else. Boom. Failure to launch. Listen. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about with the cheesy stuff. This is me. I'm a cheesy person. That's what I'm talking about. So this is just like, let me read it and then I'll talk about it. This is just the lack of listening for any given reason. So we inadvertently do not agree with what was said. So this isn't as bad as pulling the rug from someone. It happens a lot. I will point fingers to myself all the time because sometimes my ears choose to not listen because I might think it's something that was funny and I was like, oh, I get really excited and my brain tunes it out or something. Any reason, right? But because of that, because you weren't listening, you're going to continue a scene that you thought was happening when in actuality that's not the scene at all. So that's why listening is really, really pivotal in improv, because it can change at any which time, just with like the intonation of or the tone of a voice. I don't know if I was going to say the right thing or not. And if Sam watches back these VODs, he's going to make fun of me or something. But anything can change at the drop of a hat. And if you're not listening, you're going to miss the change. And you're going to hold back the change. And you're going to miss the whole point of the scene. So you have to be listening. What's next? All right, so I wanted to put a video on here. This is about scene building, right? And it kind of falls in line with saying yes and exploring and everything like that. So we'll go ahead and play it real quick.
There's this great quote about improv of you and I'm sure this is the first thing anyone latches onto, but I latched onto it, which is first you get up in the air and then you build the plane.
Right, exactly. Or the other saying is jump off the cliff and figure it out on the way down. People think that improvisation is moving forward. What improvisation really is, it's walking backward. And while I'm still looking at you, like right now I go, oh, I'm here with Sam Jones. Now as I back up, I see there's a light there. Oh, what's the light? Oh, that's a set. Oh, I'm on a set. Oh, so Sam Jones must be a person who works on a set. Then I keep backing up. I see this chair. I see that chair. I go, oh, he's an interviewer. Then I keep backing up to Nate and I go, oh, that's the sound man. What's this room? Oh, this is like a small show. It's backing up that gives you discovery.
Giving the larger worldview.
Yes, as you back up, you can create a larger worldview. People think it's moving forward. People always go, I can't think that fast. No. Don't think that fast. Just listen to the last thing he said. The first thing you do in the sketch is you set the parameters first. In sports, Dr. Naismith on down the line said, so then what we'll do is we'll put these squares here.
94 feet.
94 feet here. We'll agree that anything outside of these lines, the ball is no longer in play and you have to give it to the other team. We set up those rules. Then inside those parameters, do whatever we want. Right. You do whatever you want. So in a sketch like Substitute Teacher, we set up, my friend Rich, our friend Rich Tellerico, who wrote the sketch, he set up the rules in the most deft way he could. He set up the rules with a lot of aplomb, using social constructs. I'm from the inner city. You already make observations about what kind of person Garvey is, right?
For sure.
For sure, right? He goes, I'm from the inner city, I ain't gonna take nobody's guff. Let's take roll call. You don't know what yet, but you know who he is. So you already immediately you know who he is. And in your brain, you have a list of assumptions about that human.
Right.
Then when he says Jay Quellen, you still don't know what's going on. And you go, your brain might be going, right here. There must be a black girl here.
Right, exactly.
Then you cut to the classroom, there are no black kids. Okay, all right, you're watching it, you're backing up, you're backing up, you're backing up. Then that girl raises her hand and she goes, do you mean Jacqueline? All right, Jake Quellen, right? Those are the rules. We just set up the rules.
Right.
And then all I do is play basketball for the next 4 minutes. Balake, D Nice, Aaron, Oshag Hennessy, Timothy.
Right.
You go, oh, I know the rules. The audience goes, I know the rules. And then we delight in how we play the game.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was a really eloquently said. And if he was here on the screen, he'd probably say a lot of the stuff I've said a lot better. But I really did, that resonated with me. I really enjoy that. And I try to make that readily available for the people that I teach so they could watch it. There's also another video on there for the same list of interviews with Keegan-Michael Key about another thing about improv. I forget exactly what it's called, but yes. And all that he said is the stepping back, right? You can't do that if you're not agreeing. You have to agree, and then you have to just take a moment. Instead of trying to push forward, start labeling other things. Start living in the space and the circumstances that were given to you or you gave, and you start exploring it even more, right? You start to figure it out more. And I really did enjoy that comparison or the definition with scene building and what he thinks improv is. So if you want to see some more interviews, and a lot of people that are friends with me probably have seen most of these, but they are very, very beneficial and they're a lot of fun. So yeah, that's just a big metaphor for, saying yes and scene building and everything like that. Yeah.
There's this great quote.
What's next? What is it? Oh, okay. When you're invested in your scene partner, there are no wrong answers, right? So as long as you are in the moment, invested in your scene partner, nothing should be wrong because you're listening and you're building. Yeah? Everything you say is valuable information to you and your partner. So trust it. Damn it. Everywhere you choose to place the scene has purpose, right? Everywhere. We think we say these just out of happenstance, but there's always something behind it. We got to think like that. We got to think, okay, we're at this place, then why are we at this place? Or how does it change us? All at once, you and your partner have every answer you need. Yeah, see, that's again another example of me being cheesy. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Great movie. Watch it, have fun. But I wanted to make it somehow applicable so I could tell you to watch it and have fun. But these are all very, very true. And I wanted to just go ahead and state, next time you're in an argument, just say you're improvising. That way, nothing you say is wrong. But you got to think about it. Just think about it. You're smart. Let's see. What did I have? Oh, exercise to do at home. All right. So yeah, we're reaching the end of it, and we can talk more and more about scene building and different things. This week was all about yes and just the introduction of improv. So hopefully I didn't bore the hell out of you, and hopefully something resonated with you, or a little bit more about improv and what I do, and you aren't as embarrassed of me when you try and mention me to your coworkers, Mom. But here's an exercise that you might be able to do at home to try and help implement yes and, right? It's a very simple one. It's not necessarily the most fun, but it's very beneficial. And you can do it with yourself, or you can do it with friends, right? So it's just yes and. Literally, it's yes and. So you start with a simple statement. Probably it's best to start with an action, and you repeat the statement and you say yes, repeat the statement, and adding new information. And you keep doing that. We could start simple, right? We could just say, I'm running. Then you say, yes, I'm running, and my feet are starting to hurt. It doesn't add more to the actual scene. It adds more of like your physical demeanor and like where you are at physically. So then you would say, yes, my feet hurt, and my shoes are ripping at the seams. Okay, so that gives a little bit more indication. So my shoes are ripping at the seams. Yes, my shoes are ripping at the seams, and people are laughing at me. So I'm adding new information every time, right? I'm saying yes to what has just been previously said, and I'm adding new information. The best thing that you could do is try to add things that help build a scene with the who, what, where, right? The who, what, where. So if I do, I'm running. Yes, I'm running, and I'm first in the race so far. So yes, I'm first in the race so far, and I'm running out of steam. So that running out of steam doesn't seem like an adding to the scene necessarily of a who, what, where, but it adds to the stakes. That's why I put it. That's why I added it there. So it adds to the stakes of the scenario. So yes, I'm running, and I'm running out of steam, and the crowd is cheering my name. So now I know. So yes, the crowd is cheering my name, and my mom is in the crowd crying. Okay, I'm adding stakes. I'm painting a picture. So we just want to keep adding till we have a who, what, where. Just keep doing that. Practice it. Go as far as you can. Really paint a picture using yes and. So you want to make sure you say a statement. You say yes, the statement that was just said, and adding new information. Here are some things I want you to try and do to see the comparison of. Well, let's implement yes, but. So using the same technique, just change the verbiage a little bit and just say but instead of and. So you can try it out like, I'm running, right? Yes, I'm running, but my friends are hanging out outside. Yes, my friends are hanging out outside, but school's about to start. Yes, school's about to start, but I want to go home. It doesn't really put too much of a wrench in it, depending on how you utilize it, right? And a lot of people might not do it. I'm so used to trying to still form the scene that I might have done it decently, but it really does make it like one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back, because we're not focusing on the one thing, right? So I just want you to mark the difference between it. Then implement the no but. So I want you to disagree with everything. I want you to be that asshole. And you know what? I forgot. I'll say it after this, after all the exercises. So instead of saying, all right, I'm running. No, I'm not running, but I'm shopping for food. No, I'm not shopping for food, but I'm in art class. No, I'm not in art class, but I'm on the plane to go to Hawaii. And I think you can mark the differences in that almost immediately. If you were to see that on stage, where it's so many different initiations, so many different things all the time, it might drive you crazy. It might drive you crazy. And this is just an extra thing to kind of help with the fluidity of like just feeling comfortable saying things, right? This is a simple game. It's a warm-up a lot of the time. You're going to want to warm up for improvisation. And this is just 5 things, okay? Some people do 3 things, whatever. You could do it with friends. You could do it by yourself. You want to give yourself or your friend a prompt, like 5 things you find under your bed. And you're just going to list those things, right? And you're going to number them off every time you list something. So 5 things you find under your bed. Dirty magazines, 1. Dirty clothes, 2. Old food from Christmas, 3. Gross. Ants, 4. My high school yearbook, 5. These are 5 things, right? So we're just doing that to try and get it out of the way and not worry so much about actually saying things and coming up with things and knowing that anything we say is correct. What I want you to do with that one, if you do it, try and challenge yourself a little bit more to some specificity. Just be more specific with your prompt. So instead of saying 5 things you find under your bed, say 5 things you find under your bed after a Halloween party. And if you want to have even more fun, open it up a little bit and be like, it's still specific, but opening it up by doing like something like 5 things you say to your teacher when you forgot your homework. So we're not even listing items at that point. We are going to be the character saying these 5 lines to our teacher of reasons why we left our homework at home or anything like that. Have fun with it, genuinely. And if you're doing the 5 things you say, try and be a character. 5 things you say to your teacher when you leave your homework at home. oh, sorry, Mr. Peterson. I guess the dog ate it. So you can do that. You can do. I'm so sorry. Okay, Mrs. Sanderson, I'm so sorry. And please, you gotta understand, I'm going through a lot right now. And if you don't let me turn this in late, I might fail. And I want to be. I have an honor roll. Whatever. You can be that person that's taking it way too seriously. And I'm sorry for doing all this extra shit, but I'm trying to give you some examples. Have fun with it. Really, genuinely have fun. And what I wanted to say about Yes and I wanted to try and compare it to conversation. And I'll do this quickly since I'm already at an hour. This is why this is a trial. I wanted it to be 30 minutes. It's a freaking hour. I talk. So imagine almost like the type of people that you want to have a conversation with, right? We don't enjoy, or do you enjoy? You might enjoy having people to have a conversation with where they're always saying no and they're always trying to change the subject maybe. No, I don't really think that's true. But, you know, it's this. They're always saying no to everything you say, your suggestions, how you're feeling, anything like that. And they're not carrying the conversation with you. I know we love people that say yes, for sure. But do we only love people that just say yes? Like, if you're like, wow, it's really hot. Yeah, it's hot. I can't believe we're going to be late to class. Yeah, we're going to be late to class. I can't believe it. They're just a sounding board. They're repeating. They're an echo of a cave. They're the Grinch saying in the cave saying, you're stupid, or I'm stupid, you're stupid. But even that changed. So I don't enjoy that. I mean, yeah, it feels good to have some sort of confirmation like, yeah, totally. But if you're not furthering the conversation, then what are we doing, right? We love to have those people that don't necessarily have to agree with everything we say, but they agree with the conversation that's being had. And they have things to add to it, right? So imagine improv, if you may, the cornerstone of improv is just a good conversation. I think that's simply put. I don't think I have any other slides. Do I have any other slides? No, that's the end of the slide. So thank you guys so much. I know it's been a lot longer than I planned to. And if you're just joining now, go ahead. You can look at the VOD of this, but I just did a basic course on improvisation. But if you did not get to catch it, go ahead. I'll try and post some clips in my Discord. That's my Discord over there. And I hope that you guys can make it to the next one if you didn't get to make it. Or if you're in the VOD, I hope you enjoyed yourself. And I would love for you guys to follow me. I didn't put a follow thing on the screen. I think it's implied. But I'm going to be trying to do these things a little bit more often just because I have some time and I really do enjoy talking about it and imparting any sort of knowledge that I think I have, because I am not a smart man. So when I am smart at something, boy, do I love to share it. So I will be doing these teachings as much as possible, and I will take my time with it. I'm not going to go too quickly. I'm going to focus on one thing each video so that you guys don't get too overwhelmed. I think that I have a good ability to, like I said, relay information and try and get people on the same page. And if there's ever a moment where you're confused or you want further clarification from me, hell yeah. Ask me, right? Go to my Discord, ask the questions, go hit me up, anything you want. Make fun of my stream, whatever you want to do. As long as you clip it and tag me, I'm cool with that. But I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to this camera, and hopefully whoever is on the other end enjoyed it as well. So thank you guys. Have a good day. I'm going to go ahead and put my fin right there. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. I wish you guys nothing but happiness, beautiful times, and, some fun times. So stay beautiful, stay crazy, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.